أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله. This is a podcast of Deen of an Old Woman. Do you know, it's amazing that this creation, this universe, is we only see a very small part of it. The scientists tell us that even in the visible world, we see just a tiny part of it. And there's so much that we are unaware or can't see. And the other thing is amazing is that this creation, this universe, has two dimensions. One is the seen and one is the unseen, which we cannot see, but it exists and it plays a huge part in our lives. So when we get to know this unseen world, this unseen reality that is existing at this very moment, while I talk and while you listen, it's important that we grasp some of it in order to generate our behavior, in order to act in this world, in order to navigate in life. We try to understand what the invisible realm plays in our part every day. And subhanallah, we know as a Muslim that all our deeds are being recorded. So every word that I'm uttering and that you're listening to is being recorded. There are angels on our shoulders, the right shoulder is writing the good things and the left shoulder is writing the things that we are doing wrong, which are forbidden, which are sins. And this book will be closed when I take my last breath, and it will be placed on my chest and it will go into the grave. And then on the day of judgment, this book will be read out of all the things that I did in life. And if I disobeyed God, that day be a very great day of loss, remorse, and a tragedy. But if we live according to the commandments of Allah, the principles He's given us, the do's and don'ts of Islam, and living by the Quran and Sunnah, we will get our book on our right hand. And subhanallah, and then the scholars tell us that how happy we'll be, and we're going to hold that book up and become extremely joyous and so pleased that we won't be able to control our voice. When you're really, really excited, the voice goes all over the place. So we're going to run back to our relatives and friends and say, look, I have my book on my right hand. May Allah give us, all of us, the experience, and may Allah give us the book in our right hand. So, wallahi, it's fascinating here now to imagine the spiritual reality that takes place between the earth and the sky. In Surah Baruj, Allah tells us that it's the angel Gabriel who brought the Quran down to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it says in Ramadan, on the night of Qadr, which is one of the odd nights of the last 10, that the angel descend. And there's so many angels that cover the whole of the earth. And subhanallah, can you just imagine that reality? How wonderful is that? So the angels are continuously ascending and descending between the earth and the sky, carrying various duties. Subhanallah, we ought to be like the angels in a sense that we ought to carry out our duties as well. The duties and responsibilities Allah has given us and is given to all human beings. And we have to, be aware and fulfill this duty as a parent, as an employee, as a sister, a brother, as a neighbor, as a community worker. We all have duties and responsibility. And obviously the biggest one is that duties toward Allah. that Allah has commanded to be worshipped. Only Him, Allah subhanahu to be worshipped. And this manifests in the 5 times salah and dhikr and doing good works, because Allah has commanded us, and we have to be like the angels. Look, the angels carry out the command of Allah. And when we become like that, we become like the angels, and sometimes even better than the angels, some say. And subhanAllah, look how much we love the angels. When we see a beautiful child or a really a good person, we say, oh, what a good angel. Because we know angels are good. We too ought to live up to that as well. So the angels are, they move from sky and the earth, bringing Allah's command, which include all matters that take place in our lives. The upward journey consists of the dua. Can you imagine that everything we do is being lifted up to Allah, and particularly our dua? Allah is, the angels are taking it to Allah. And then our essence, which is the soul, when we passed away, it goes from the earth up to the sky. I think the angels take that soul. I don't know whether they hold their soul by a hand or do they put arm in arm. I don't know. But somehow they take our soul up to Allah. So the sky and the earth are a witness to the actions of what we do. And as I said, on the day of judgment, the earth will throw its burden and relates its event that occurred on its back. Wallahi, how the Quran explains that in such a graphic, pictorial, detailed way, that how the earth is going to throw its burden, which means that because we all be in the grave, so it's going to throw us out of the grave, and then we'll stand up and we'll move and walk. Everybody, the whole humanity will be confused and running here and there at that time. And then the earth will tell Allah what we did on its back. Don't think that this earth is nothing. No, this earth is aware of what we're doing. And subhanAllah, it's witnessing everything that we're doing. The fact is that we human beings are the authors of our very own life story, which will be read out to us, on the day of judgment. And Allah tells us in Surah Qaf that we'll be amazed at the precision of the recording of the book, and we will cry out, what kind of book is this that has left nothing out, has left not any small thing out? Subhanallah. Look how Allah is telling us all these things in the Quran so that we mend our ways, we correct ourselves, we check ourselves, we evaluate the actions we're doing, we evaluate our intentions, what we're doing, why we're doing it for. Because as a slave of Allah, to be obedient of Allah is follow His commandments. And that's, we have to know our purpose in creation is to be a true Khalifa of Allah, to be a slave of Allah, to carry out Allah's command on this earth. And the heaven, the sky and the earth are witnessing to all our actions and all the behavior that we're exhibiting. A wise person is the one who realizes this reality, that we are living in this seen and unseen world. It's like our one foot is in the unseen and the other in the seen world. And we have to balance these things out. We must remember that each of our actions is going into this unseen realm. And if one is to imagine a spiritual escalator, our deeds and our actions are going up to Allah. Everything we do. And that's why we have to be really careful of what we do. And as I said, a wise person is the one who realizes the reality and tries to live life that will benefit them now, here, and also in the hereafter forever and ever. Wallahi, it always amazes me. This short life of 60 years, 70 years, 80 years. I mean, I haven't got long to live, Yet, if we live this life according to the will of Allah, in total submission, we will gain infinite eternity of pure bliss and pleasure. How wonderful is that, eh? And we have all access to that. And obviously, everything's in the Quran. The Quran is full of guidance to tell us how best to live this life. It uses stories, warning, parable, commandments, and so forth. It stresses the importance of believing in one true God and obeying His rules and living by the message that all the messengers brought. Right from the get-go, right from this world when it was made, Allah sent messengers to humankind so that we are not lost and we are not confused and we're not living a miserable life. Allah sent messengers throughout human history like Adam and Moses and Abraham and David and Solomon and Isa and Yahya and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be on all those prophets who brought guidance for humanity so that we live a life of satisfaction, of contentment. And subhanallah, the more we reflect on this reality, this unseen reality, the most we should be careful of what action we're doing. Subhanallah. And look how the Quran gives us everything we need in life. It even gives us how we are supposed to, grow and have spiritual development, spiritual growth, how we, we're supposed to evolve, how we're supposed to enhance in the knowledge of Allah and in obedience of Allah. Subhanallah. And the Quran categorizes, this state of mind, this experience, this mindset in three categories. And subhanallah, the more we live Islam, the better we will get grasp at these categories. So first, it's the knowing the world, whether it's seen or unseen or both. It's by ilm al-ayn, and basically it means that when you see something, you see something and you believe it, yeah? But, sometimes our perceptions are misleading. And, subhanAllah, it's very interesting. Once, it's a true story I heard. Somebody told me that there was a very simpleton, a guy in the village, and he's never been in the aeroplane. He doesn't know what aeroplane are. So he would see them from far, and people would tell him, well, this is where the people sit in there and they fly from A to B. And he thought the aeroplane was small, a few inches long. He could not comprehend the size of an aeroplane because his eyes showed him a little, size. And he thought it was that size. And this is just one example of saying that when we, do ayn al-yaqeen, when we see things with our eyes, they could be misleading. So the first understanding of this reality is this basic level where we see things, we perceive things, and we start believing them. This is the first level. But then we can get to a higher level by living an Islamic way of life, by understanding Islam, living by Allah's principles, living by the message that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought, and living by his sunnah. So this moves us to one level higher of experiential knowledge. And the second one is called Ayn al-Yaqeen, which is a information or knowledge or experience. It's that when you when you see a fire, you see that it burns And so you have this true knowledge of it. You actually see the paper, something burning, and you see this, you could even substitute this example for fruit. Say like that, ilm al-ayn is that, somebody tells you, oh, there's this exotic fruit in this island, perhaps I don't know, a pineapple or something, and you don't know what it is. So they describe you, it's a sweet, and it has this rough edges on the top, and it has this spiky little, leaves on the top like a ponytail, and so you just sort of try to imagine it, but you don't really know what it is. But when you see it, that's Ainul al-Yaqeen. You say, oh yes, that's a pineapple. So you become convinced of the information you received, that this is what it is. And and this is exactly what applies to our belief in Allah and our belief in Islam and living by Islam, that how when we live by Islam, this experiential knowledge, we should get to this knowledge of yaqeen, to truly to believe in Tawheed, and try to do everything accordingly, and try to imitate the Prophet in everything that he did is in life. Yeah. So this second knowledge, experiential knowledge, is called Ainul al-Yaqeen, mean that you witness it with eyes and you become sure. It's and I said, first you hear about the fire. That's another example, or you see the fire, and the third, this is a very strong belief, is called Haqq al-Yaqeen, and this is it's the stage of knowledge, it's the level of knowledge where you so believe in it. And if we take the example of fire, and Ainul, Haqq al-Yaqeen would be that, you touch the fire, or you touch, and you see how hot it is. Or Haqq al-Yaqeen, if you take the example of the fruit that I've given, is like tasting that pineapple, and you really, you experience, and that you are absolutely 100% convinced. And this is the highest and most convincing category of knowledge, where you are 100% sure of the reliability. And subhanallah, Allah uses this beautiful word, taste, in the Quran regarding death. Look, we hear about death, we see dead people, then we will taste death. And that's when yaqeen, 100%, convincing will come. And subhanallah, this is a category and stages of knowledge that we evolve when we live by Islam, when we understand Islam, when we apply Islam in our lives. It's not good enough just living by theory. A lot of us, we study, we know this theory, we know this, that's a scholar who said that sheikh who said that. But unless we live it, we will not be able to benefit from it. So Allah has given us, look, subhanAllah, the Quran tells us how we can evolve, grow, develop, change, and reach the best by doing this Haqq al-Yaqeen. To believe in God and all His commandments require that we have this third quality where we are 100% sure of the existence and the benefits of worshipping Allah alone. And subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a menu, the Quran, which has everything. Allah describes the believer as acting in the following principle of hear and obey. So when we hear a commandment of Allah, we should go straight in the, immediately start obeying. That this means that we are so sure of existence of Allah, we believe in Tawheed, and we are immediately willing to obey Allah, because we have this experiential knowledge that Allah exists, and Allah is the one who is the creator, maintainer, director, caretaker, who is in control of everything in creation. Everything within us, everything that we do, it all rely and dependence on Allah. And we cannot do it. We can't even take a breath without Allah. Allah gives us the ability to understand this knowledge and to live by this knowledge, to our dependency in Allah, and how we should strengthen our relationship with Allah if we are supposed to have haqq al-yaqeen, to believe in Allah. So, Allah is telling us that how important it is for us to worship Him and to live an Islamic way of life. And subhanallah, today more and more science is telling us that how important it is to live by the truth, by haqq. And this was given to us 1400 years ago. And may Allah give us the ability to live and experience this haqq al-yaqeen, to experience and to have this realization of our dependency in Allah and our need for Allah. Thank you.